Right? Happy morning to you guys across the world. Some of you into the month of August, some of you not into the month of August. Today we are going to be looking and camera. Sure. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new version of Resnick. Yeah, looking at the comments, I get it, Goblers. More than two versions of a specific unit is bad. However, you might not find so much of a bit of anger on JP. Just as a heads up, mostly because we haven't gotten a other version of this character yet. We never got the bunny one that you guys have, so this might be you guys just have to suffer through a unit, and it doesn't make that big of a difference to you. Anyway, so today let's take a look at this character, and as a bonus today we have Wotv calc data, so we'll have a pretty good judgment on her by the end. So here is Resnick in a Purifier team for comparison. Sephiroth at 126 speed, 19k attack, and 1600 HP, and also Soul. This party at 12k. Of course, my Sephiroth has just a amazing amount of reincarnations. So yeah, and Soul not so much. So just for comparison's sake. But 1600 magic, about 11k HP without reincarnations, pretty good, and 119 speed seems pretty good for this combination of vision cards and the like. Taking a look, defense and spirit are both in the positives, which is good for her when you're alive. Single target and AoE resistance are also in the positives. Just taking a look against a newer unit, it's pretty comparable for a character like Sephiroth and better than an older character like Yuffie. So it's, it's what you would expect for a unit that has essentially come out since. Looking at resistances, quite nice. A little bit of curse resistance, which is good for her. There's also something else to do with curse resistance in this unit kit that I think people will be happy about. And attack type resistance are once again pretty positive. A unit like this, you always want to be survivable just in case, and it looks good and positive for the most here. What I really like is magic resistance, because here on JP, it hasn't hit global yet, but JP does have a very, very specific problem right now. A certain wind mage who has been meta warping. So any units that have the potential of pushing back against her, although JP also kind of just has this little bit of a problem where it's just like, well, I mean, you just put the strongest unit with that wind mage and it ends up being better than not. So whether or not this unit is initially going to make a big shift, I don't think so. But if her combination is good with other units, then maybe. All right, so talk about equipment really quickly. First off, I want to talk about this new book, which of course is absolutely fantastic, and I think the best weapon skin we've ever seen in the entire game. A beauty magazine, and for people who are curious, yes, when the book is open, there are actually pages inside that depict some of the unit designs and everything. I will show it off in a future video, but it is fantastic, and I love the idea of a book-based weapon skin more than a lot of other weapon-based skins in the game, because it doesn't, I mean, magic, sure, whatever, but I love the idea of like a book sleeve where you can take like a regular book and then just put over top of it a sleeve cover, and then it looks like the book that you actually want. That's kind of cute. So like you have the Necronomicon from the Reliquaries. You just slide this like beauty cover magazine over top of it and no one's the wiser. All right, that's my little aside. So this is the magic version. First notable thing, healing power up on it is really good. Curiously, this only gives extra bonuses for 2 different units. Of course, our girl here that we're talking about today, young lady, but also Velas, which is a very strange unit because he's quite aged and you don't really see this kind of preferential treatment, but okay. Velas with the beauty magazine. It also gives magic power up and AoE aura, which is quite relevant in the modern version of the game. It's quite a boost. I mean, 30% attack boost is for magic attacks is really good. Healing power up is great for Velas, but the AoE aura is also really, 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 really nice. So yeah, I have to say that in terms of a weapon, this is 100% get. I think this is crazy. I hope that it gets updated in future for other book type units. And its design is just fantastic. I can't say enough positive things about this one. All right. Trust Mastery. Trust Mastery, 166 HP, 5 speed, 22 magic. Good solid mage based piece of equipment that has agility on it, so we will never say no. A little bit of flexibility in the range of casting, and it does cast Protect on a unit, but I am noticing that one of the things is missing. Give me a second to pull it up as I find out the other skill that's just not did to make sure it is 4 turns. So yeah, protect effect that reduces damage for 4 turns for allies, recovers a certain percentage of HP small when HP falls below 50% one time, which is we've seen this ability on other characters, like Anomalous has it. He was able to gift it to other units. Not unreasonable. It's quite a flexible Trust Mastery in terms of like multicasting though, since you do have 2 panels or 2 unit tiles worth of range on it on an AoE. So you can potentially get multiple units. She doesn't need to cast it herself because that's not as important potentially as attackers. If you're getting that HP boost, it's really, really good midway through. Even if it is small, I think it's not nothing. So quite strong for units that don't have that. And there are some units that would very much benefit from it. So yeah, all that is initially good. Now let's check out the data. So the data that we don't have, 100 cost. She is a limited time unit. 3 move, 1 jump. Sword, Sorcerer, and Cleric for sub-jobs. We've already talked about the Trust Mastery. Also, it is a single cast. Master ability is activation time for skills down, which you would expect. Increase AoE resistance by 10. Dream ability, chance of being targeted decreased, which is great for a healer support type unit. Reduce magical damage taken by an extra percent. Increase ice resistance by 10. All of that is really good. I'm going to take a quick drink. Now, support skills. Increase physical distance-based resistance and magical-based resistance depending on the range. Minimum of 4, maximum of 6 is really, again, defensive. Quite nice. Debuff weakening effect on her is also 20 down. Reducing magical damage taken by 20%. Removes effect after 2 hits are received. And an increase of healing power is basically everything that you would want for a unit like this. I think that it is a very, very reasonable ability. I wouldn't say that it's over the top in any sort of way, but it is just essentially protecting her, keeping her alive. She isn't debuff super easy, and she is more of a specialist against mages. Her second ability is fire and ice resistance, which both very relevant in terms of what you face nowadays. Both Sephiroth fire-based teams are a thing. Counter versus fire is quite nice here. And also ice-based units. Gilgamesh is still very, very popular. Ice teams are still very good. So this is strong. And skill activation time down is good. but still has a little bit of flexibility, I guess, if you really want. Magic attack, AP consumption, spirit and agility, HP, and ice resistance. So depending on how you want to build her supports are very, very good for a bunch of different things. Counter ability, chance to counter slash and magic damage is her new ability. 70% chance of happening, reduces damage taken. The two most prominent types of damage historically in Wotv, so absolutely probably going to be running this. Counter all damage by increasing HP, not super great. Chance to counter missile damage, reduces damage taken. Missile damage is still not a regular thing, even with Veritas being a new unit that should pop up in the future. No, I don't think so. So yeah, looking good for supports and counter. Subjobs, Cleric has Dispel all debuffs. It has damage increase, light resistance, dark resistance, dispel all ailments. So that's good. The thing I'll say really strongly about Asunaga is it is a potential counter to Curse. If I remember correctly, Asunaga has been updated to be good against Curse, and it has a huge range now and a big AoE. It is a full turn of casting this, but if you are getting rid of a really negative status effect that can kill you, this is good. At the very least, a good option to have. Sword Sorcerer, granting Shell, dealing magic damage, disable, and slash attack resistance. I don't think this will be too relevant for her because I think she will be the healer support role. Sub Jobs does have a increased critical rate and restore HP on a single target, which is fine. I mean, it is a strong heal with all the extra heal support she has. Critical rate is relevant for certain units, but I wouldn't say that it's super important. Decrease AP for targets, increase effect by 20% if you have at least one of the following effects. Ignore fatal re-raise, dispel to ignore fatal re-raise. So just kind of decreasing AP for target is fine, but I don't think it's super relevant unless it's just nutty in terms of its effect. I don't know. I feel like you can skip the sub part of this job, at least for now, mainly to get Cleric, potentially just for Asunaga and almost nothing else. Although it does also have a heal, dispel buffs, and dispel physical damage and magic damage reduction per target too, so that's okay. All right. Main job. First one is a heal, attack increase, and accuracy increase. So she's anti-magic, but she's net positive for a physical attacking unit. The range is very short on this, so I'm not super confident about doing this and not getting AoE down, per se, depending on how survivable she is. Increasing accuracy, though, is incredibly valuable since a lot of people like to spike fire teams and earth teams right now with a evasion buff to potentially mess up, and also the new dark based unit also can be a little bit of a tricky evader, so this is a good ability. Now, next ability, increase slash resistance, magic resistance, AoE resistance by 20 for 4 turns itself. When a friendly unit is within range, automatically cast a specific other skill. So we scroll down here. What that is a really, really large range, which makes it very, very positive. It looks like 5 panels ahead, so almost certainly this can be an effect. Critical evasion by 20, curse resistance by 50, frostbite resistance by 50, and blind resistance. Quite a crazy secondary or just passive ability to constantly active. 50% curse resistance with trust mastery runes, with some natural resistances. That's pretty relevant in terms of metagame. This could be the thing that really pushes Curse out. This is the thing that I would expect a lot of whales to be very, very tempted by, and might even just make Curse less of a constant thing that you see still, and make it more of a passive thing, which will balance out how good this effect is for people run enough people run this kind of character that curse is less of a general problem. But then the curse being around less just means that this unit is less required. So that could be generally good for most free to players as well as casual. All right. Next ability, reduce physical damage taken by 50% for 4 times for self. Single target resistance 30. Grants an effect of sealing barrier destruction, as well as disable follow-up casts for 4 turns. So casting this on allies is incredibly important. Throw this on a range-based character or with, high enough distance on attacks. You can get this off on your opponent, removing their follow-up casts, which is a very, very, very big thing right now for a lot of strongest characters. And sealing barrier destruction works just with this ability. So yeah, absolutely crazy, very, very strong. It's improved as well. So barrier destruction, you're also getting accuracy on allies by 30, which means again you're dealing with those evasions, spiky Sephiroths and whatnot. Potentially better. Just it seems like a really, really strong ability. It does have that flexibility, a little bit of flexibility being cast. It can be cast twice. And it's just doing so much for herself and for her allies that I think that it is more than good enough. All right, next ability, reduces magical damage taken by 50% for 2 times to allies and restore HP. Very anti-mage and just generally really, really strong. What's interesting too is, unless this is a mistake, it does have casting time, but its casting time is removed on upgrade, meaning that an instant AoE massive heal with a pretty good range on it that's protecting against magic damage against, your very strong mage-based characters is really, really good. So yeah. Next ability, damage ability, finally one of these. 200% chance physical damage reduction, magical damage reduction, and also slow too, which slow probably has a decent chance of happening. And last, 50% chance to revive ally, 60% HP regained, and a 200% chance for auto revive on self. So she auto re-raises herself. Casting time isn't too terrible on this. Yeah, overall, I would say that Resnick looks very, very strong from every single perspective. She is a very, very, very good character, well-built kit, strong healer and support-based unit. I mean, originally I would say that one of the complaints against her is that her curse status, like, she would have to like cure curse specifically, but the fact that she can probably almost always put that aura up and give a 50% curse resistance is just a lot to get the unit. So yeah, I think it's really, really good. It's not necessarily a unit that you would want to put into auto rotations and whatnot. So it is maybe just a character that is specifically to a problem with the meta. And to those, not everyone necessarily needs it, but again, healer who supports and heals, buffs that cancel barrier destruction and seal follow-up attacks, buffs to abnormal status effects, but ones that essentially it's just an aura, meaning that it is more difficult to cancel and is just kind of always permanently active on a unit that is mostly going to be healing and supporting and not generating too terribly much hate. Mega heals, as well as removing of status effects with the Asunaga, which has been improved enough to be really good, and a kind of re-raise plus, essentially. I would say that, yeah, this is a good unit to get your hands on if you can get it her for cheap. Probably more mandatory for whales, you want to stay incredibly competitive, and for everyone else, probably a unit that you just don't need to worry too much about. But let's take a look at that limit burst to end things off. But yeah, very, very strong. I'll be very curious to see. Ooh. Shares or drink. Draws. Ooh. So, surfing was Summer Glassy's thing. Find your own thing. Play some beach volleyball. No, wait, that's also been done. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on the unit below in the comment section, and we'll be back with testing a little bit later. See ya.